Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you subscribers for staying subscribed for so long. This is just going to be a short little video to help me get back to the video editing, so it's not going to be very high effort. So basically, I've been playing a game called Don't Starve Together, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically an uncompromising survival game where, forget it. None of that is important right now because you're not going to be seeing any uncompromising survival mechanics in this video because it's literally called the freest ancient Fuelweaver fight ever. So I'm basically going to trivialize this extremely challenging boss fight, and I'm going to explain how I do it as I go along. In this video, I'm playing as Wartox, a character with 200 health, 175 hunger, and 150 sanity, which is pretty decent stats. This is what my skill tree looks like, basically. Since I'm playing as Lunar Wartox, I'll be using the Bright Jade armor so that I can take advantage of its invincibility whenever I am in a Soul Echo. Soul Echo is basically what happens after you use a Soul Hop, which is basically Wartox's teleportation ability, which consumes a soul. What the Soul Echo is normally supposed to do is allow you to teleport again without additional cost, essentially giving you a free extra teleport. But since I'm playing as Lunar Wartox, the Breaking armor will allow the Soul Echo to take damage for me, essentially allowing me to become invincible for how many ever Soul Echoes I have, which is 2 like I said before. And on my head, I'm wearing an enlightened crown, buffed with the power of 5 celestial jewels. This crown will turn my sanity into enlightenment and keep it capped at 100%. However, this isn't my true sanity value, so whenever I take it off that you see in the video, it'll show you where my sanity is actually at. As you can see, the ancient Fuelweaver currently has 3 attacks. The first he decapitates until it swings his head at you. This is a melee attack and it's very easy to avoid by walking away whenever he's doing it and coming back when he's finished. The second attack is a slam where he slams the ground, which also is a melee attack where you can just walk away from, but summons bones which will fall on a spiral pattern. These also do damage. And the third is the bone cage, which is a short range melee attack which will imprison you and you have to teleport out of the void for it to dissipate. Now that I did so much damage, the boss entered the second phase, where it grovels on the ground and turns itself invincible, as well as summoned a bunch of weak minions to heal himself. But here I made a mistake. I tried to fill my inventory space with souls, which would give me more inventory slots to store souls, which is a bad thing because I'm supposed to only have 1 stack, so any additional souls does not try to come into my inventory. Because when it does, I start to overload, and if I don't use souls, then I'll become stunned, which could become a pretty big problem since the boss can heal itself all the way to full. Basically, as you can see, I'm equipping and unequipping the Enlightened Crown to be able to target unseen hands, which is responsible for the Fuelweaver's invincibility. I'm also using the Bright Jade Staff since the projectiles ricochet around all enemies, and that can also summon Gestults when I have the Enlightened Crown activated. After the fight's over, I'll show you a test world where I don't have any of this stuff, so I can show you how challenging this boss fight can be without all these items that basically indirectly nerf the boss. Basically playing as Wartox and using these items, the boss fight basically waters down to just hold F and right click occasionally to win. However, Wartox isn't really necessary because with these items alone, the boss fight does still become free, but with Wartox it's just way easier because of the AoE and soul hopping and invincibility and yeah. So basically this is a test world where I'm using items you usually have when trying to fight the Fuelweaver. Right now, I have some tools like crowns. They give 90% damage reduction, 10% more than the bright shade armor, and have a 33% chance of making me invincible for 4 seconds. While these are good abilities, the invincibility still takes away from armor durability when you're hit, and you really shouldn't rely on chance. And I wouldn't be able to use my lunar alignment if I had this in my Warthog's world, which I won't be using here because I'm just using base Willovers. I also have a stack of pierogi, which will heal me in replacement of souls since I'm using Willow for this test world, like I said. I also have banana shakes, as they'll restore my sanity since I actually need to manage it now. I'm using the Lazy Explorer as they'll allow me to teleport out to the bone cage as well as move faster, as well as the Nightmare Amulet, which works inverse to the Enlightened Crown, artificially setting my sanity to 0, allowing me to target the unseen hands. I'll be also using Water Pains in this fight, which is basically a short-range AoE attack that'll stick in one spot, but I forgot to add it in, so I'll cheat it in shortly after the fight begins. This will help me target the Woven in the absence of the Brightshade Staff. However, I'll have to keep manually setting it up since it doesn't ricochet. The weapon of choice is the Handbat, and while it deals less damage than a Brightshade Sword or a Dark Sword or a Glass Cutter, it has infinite durability, so I only need to carry one, which can help make the inventory management aspect a bit easier. This part of the fight, you see me stressing and pausing more since this part of the fight requires intense inventory management. While the Fuelweaver is slow, he still walks away from the tornado spawned by the water pit, which can cause him to move to his healing minions, the Woven, not affected by the specific area the tornado's at. If I mess up, he can end up healing for a lot of health, resetting the fight basically. As you see, a crawling horror just spawned. It can disrupt the fight quite a bit. This is the reason for me constantly unequipping the Nightmare Amulet. But luckily, it's just a crawling horror, not the fast and powerful terror beast, so I shouldn't be too screwed. Here, I decide to tank the damage. That's the reason why I carry so many those like crowns, because it'll allow me to have more of a DPS opportunity before the Fuelweaver activates its invincibility again. And right here at Terrorbeak spawn, which isn't particularly frightening but can be much more of an annoyance than a crawling horror. Since it's faster, it can do more damage than a crawling horror. What you saw there was my favorite dog walk to Fuelweaver around the arena like most pro YouTubers do, but I was quickly and brutally reminded that I myself am not a pro player. You know, I originally made this video because I found it funny how all the new lunar rift gear seemed to conveniently counter the ancient Fuelweaver. But then I realized I could use some leftover footage I recorded for practically no reason, so enjoy, I guess.